Sometimes we forget why we're here. It's easy to fall off track. These help us remember.
These battle scars don't look like they're faded, don't look like they're ever gone away. They ain't never gonna change. These battles.
Growing up, I had a dream, something no one else could see. Tell me what it means when your faith is falling beneath your knees and you can't breathe. Everything you see reminds you of what you're not or something you won't be. You gotta take what you're given, that's how we live it. Don't be mad at the system, it's simply how we've existed. I hear a lot of people talking like they politicians and choose to be an accountant because it's safe in a business. Not because they wanna do it, just because they heard it pays. And who the fuck wants to be poor knowing that's how we've been raised? Society is getting heavy, I can feel the weight. The pressure of success is like 100 million pounds of shame. And that's the reason I'm staying up late, trying to find a way to escape the stereotypes. This day and age is making me feel like the only way I'll be happy is getting signed to a label and making money through rapping. I wanna share my emotion because this world is attacking the very principle of life that lets the people be happy. If you don't have a reason to breathe, why even live? These battle scars are impressions of everything that it is.
Don't look like they're faded, don't look like they're ever gone away. They ain't never gonna change. These battle scars don't look like they're faded, don't look like they're ever gone away. They ain't never gonna change. These battles.
If I had a voice that reached 100 million people, I'd tell them there's a reason that we're all created equal. Cause some decide to be great and some decide a sequel to an average person's life is simply what they want to be. So you make your decision, all I know is what I'm given. Won't define the life I lead or the way I dwell in existence. I've seen a greater image on the walls of where I'm living, and the words twisted and scripted remind me of something written. Faith is a gift that is given down to the people. If one believes it, one receives it. It's given if it is needed. Don't ever think you're trapped in a life that you never wanted. Your options are infinite, that's some mathematical logic. I'm not saying I'm a prophet, I'm speaking for what it's worth. These lyrics define my prayers and these battle scars on my church. Not saying I'm a prophet, I'm speaking for what it's worth. These lyrics define my prayers, these battle scars on my church.
Scars don't look like they're faded, don't look like they're ever gone away. They ain't never gonna change. These battle scars don't look like they're faded, don't look like they're ever gone away. They ain't never gonna change. These battles.
Well, hello everyone. I'm sorry I'm a little bit late because oh, and yes, everyone always wants to know my shirt. I know it's not Wednesday, but it's on Wednesdays we wear pink. I wear pink every day. So it's not just every day's Wednesday. Every day is Wednesday for me. I hope the sound is good. You guys will have to let me know because I haven't been home in a bit. I'm going to look at the levels here. Unless you guys tell me everything's great. Sound levels. They're good. Okay. Sorry. My old eyes. You old eyes, you've got to like take off, take on, take off. Okay. Alrighty. I literally did. Oh God, these bags under my, I'm still carrying my luggage under my eyes. So yeah, we literally just got back from the airport, but I wanted to do a stream right away while things were still fresh in my head. And I was, reviewing some things on Facebook that I thought needed to be addressed. And tomorrow, well, this next week, I've got a lot of work to do. And I'll be streaming, but probably we'll be moving on to other things. That's kind of my goal. Maybe this week will be a let's talk about convention and what are some criticisms. But after that, not really going to be dealing with that. I think a lot of the criticisms, I'm sure there are some that are perfectly fair, but a lot of them are based on misunderstandings, and then a couple very small percentages are just downright malicious. But a lot of the critical comments, I'd say about 60% of them, are based upon misunderstandings. And that's really what I want to deal with. Might touch a little bit on the malicious ones, but not so much, because you can't do anything about that. You just can't. But the ones that are based on misunderstanding, it fits along with my, God, I look like hell. I am sorry. It's been a rough weekend. Oh, I don't need my campaign. I got donate to my campaign on here. Hold on. We don't need that anymore. I need my standard grifting. Where's my regular grifting? Hold on. I've got way too many screens here. Take off sound effects. Where's my overlays? Yes. Now, where's my regular grifting? But I think my campaign grifting is still in there. Yeah, my trigger warning, shameless grifting. Yeah. Okay, it's got my Patreon. Ignore anything that scrolls along the bottom that has to do with my campaign, because obviously, and hello everyone in chat. I'm so sorry I didn't individually say hello, but I see I see all the hellos, and thank you. Just ignore everything about the campaign there. But I did say at one point, and I'll talk about it more specifically, and I'm here to answer your questions. This is going to be just a very free-flowing show. I've got a little bit of notes of some things I want to cover, and it is on my Libertarian Party of Florida. A little bit libertarian, yeah. I got down there about the whole thing with the tellers with Justin Amash. That's on my little list to cover there. So I see you, Tyler. I want to put comments up, because that's what I want to do, because not everyone can see these. There we go. What happened? Go back. What's it doing? Okay. So let me scoot this way so I'm more centered and you guys. Now, I'm sorry I didn't put the comments up right away. It's been a while. I'm now a novice at streaming. And I forgot what I was saying. Yeah, I know I look a little bit like hell. So, and this week is going to be super busy. I will be streaming. But this week, I've got to hit the ground running, not just because that's what I do, and I got to be careful how I word this, because none of my desire is to throw shade upon, I can't even call him my predecessor, because I don't have a predecessor. I'm the person who served as Secretary Pro Tem during the period of my exile. We just do things differently, and there were some things I did that aren't an official part of the job description, so I can't and wouldn't criticize somebody for not doing it, but it was things that I took care of that I need to get back to. The minutes records page on the lp.org site is a hot mess. There's 10 sets of missing minutes. I don't know what happened. September minutes were on there and then they disappeared. I think they're still there, but somebody went in and broke the code that showed it. It's just a WordPress, back end. And the committee page is a mess. And again, that isn't an official part of the job duties. That's just something I took on and I'm taking back on, because I had Forrest Whitaker for 9 months just going, no, can we fix that? So I am going, there are no minutes from 2022, last of the Libertarians. There's one set from in 2021 from November, and then they stop in June. It's just bizarre. I'm taking care of that. That's what I'm doing this week. There's whole sets of minutes that haven't been approved. I think there's drafts on the list. I'm going to go through them, make any needed corrections that I see, get them all up for email approval. We'll get all the minutes. We'll get all the minutes up there. So, all right. Oh, I must have been running on sheer adrenaline this weekend, because I've injured myself in multiple ways and don't even know when I did it. Okay, a little bit of, not grossness, but something you might not want to hear or see. I've sprained my knee really bad, didn't even notice, but I want to show you something. And I need a Fireball sponsorship, by the way. But I want to show you guys something that you're going to freak out, because I have no idea how I did this. It was on the first day, but again, sheer adrenaline. And I don't know if I can get my leg up high enough to show you, but you're going to freak out that I don't even know how I did this. But I did it. Ugh. You see that, Bruce? Isn't that hideous? I have no idea how that happened. But I apparently ran into something, because I bruise easily really badly, but that's pretty bad. Not even knowing how I did it. And I ripped a toenail off. How the hell that happened, I don't know. I don't remember anything of that. I was running on sheer adrenaline. I messed up that leg really, really bad, and I didn't feel it until like today. It's bad. Isn't that nasty? That's like when I got back to the room on Friday night and was getting ready for bed, I'm like, what the hell? What the hell? Like, woo, that was bad. But, you know, it's just bruising. It'll heal. It's super, super sore. But oh my goodness. But my knee, I don't know what I did with that. Getting old sucks. And I hurt my back. But my back's always been hurting for a while. But no. Now, let's get to the convention stuff. Boy, was that intense. I have to tell you though, and this is I haven't gotten the clip out of this yet. I would like to and thank you everyone for all your well wishes in chat. But I mean, there was multiple highlights. Obviously, getting my removal null and void ab initio was wonderful, and we're going to talk about that. And obviously getting reelected. This is almost like a larger version of Pennsylvania. Remember Pennsylvania, like it started in the morning with me. Oh, and thank you for the super chat. Thank you. Oh, wow. That is a big viewer count. Holy crap. Hi, everyone. So, yes, all of those were high points. But like Pennsylvania, where I started out the day with the chair threatening to throw me out for simply raising a point of order, this convention was kind of the same. It started out Thursday with the Credentials Committee chair, where I did the video on it, you know, losing her absolute crap on me and trying to throw me out for just noting that it wasn't proper to have a party meeting in a caucus suite. And no, my expulsion will not get expunged. I have a motion about, I'm going to talk about that. And I want to explain what expunged means, because there's a lot of misunderstanding about that too. It's the old Roberts, but it deals with the same thing. I'm just trying to look up. JJ, maybe you can help me before we get to that point. Oh, it's the old Roberts. So do you know where on the 11th, what page number I can find rescind and expunge from the minutes? I'm sure I'll find it in the index if you don't let me know. But I only have the 11th down here, but I don't think it's changed between the 12th. And yeah, I wanted to explain to everybody, a lot of people are confused about that, and I don't blame them. So I do want to cover that. It says, is Susan's never been LPRC chair? I don't think. I forgot who our first no, maybe she was our first chair. But she's not. They change chairs like every year. And Anna is the chair of the LPRC. WXDD Triple D83. How much did go? There wasn't a hard stop. There wasn't a hard stop. So, right, Richard. Yeah. Okay, page 310. Thank you, JJ. I don't know where that came from. We had the room booked for the entire night. We could have stayed till midnight. The problem was staff. So staff and the AV crew. And they had to leave at a certain time. It didn't cost us any more. It was just that we were going to lose support. But if we wanted to stay in that room without staff, I'm not talking about our staff, I'm talking about hotel staff. We could have, as long as we recessed for long enough for the AV crew. They had overhead lighting that would have been dangerous to get out with people in the room. But after that point, because they had to move tables and stuff, we left. But it didn't cost the party anything. If it was going to cost the party, we were going to ask everyone out there who wanted to continue business to pledge, to pay for it. So that is another big misunderstanding that's been going around social media. It is not true. It is just simply not true. It didn't cost us any extra money. And we would have paid more for the AV staff if they could have stayed, but they just couldn't. There was other obligations or whatever. That, I think, is where the confusion came in. That people thought we could pay to keep them, and we would have, but that wasn't even an option. That wasn't even an option. So I didn't even have that down. So I'm glad that we covered that. And again, thank you everyone for the congratulations. So now and I'll go over questions. I'm looking. I know you guys are seeing chat right in front. For me, it's over I have another screen here if you keep wondering why I look over there. Excuse me, why I keep looking over there. Alrighty, let's go over some things I wanted to go over. Let's do the expunging thing first, just because people were curious about that. All right, he said page 310. So if people are wondering what I'm talking about, if you haven't heard, my first official motion as this term's secretary was to make a motion to rescind and expunge from the minutes the January censure of Joshua Smith. And I don't know if that part of the meeting was live streamed, but I did explain at the meeting why I was doing that. And what I said was, I don't even care if... Oh, and I see, thank you for the super chat. I said to the people in the room, the new LNC, I don't care really. This motion has nothing to do with whether or not you agree that he deserved the censure. That's not the point here. I don't think he deserved it, but nobody had to agree with me on that. I said the point was, if he did, so did a lot of other people on the LNC. I mean, I don't think anyone would deny that. If Joshua deserved a censure, so did half of the frickin' LNC. And I'll tell you, that morning before I was reelected, and I'm not going to mention names because they're past, I got 2 nasty grams from outgoing LNC members. Just completely, just gross. And yeah, at least half of that LNC, well, maybe not half, at least about 5 people on that LNC should have been censured if Joshua should have been censored. So that was my rationale for wanting to rescind and expunge from the minutes, because it was a witch hunt against Joshua, just like it was a witch hunt against me. And I wanted to clear the deck of all of that. Okay, and David James said, talk about the motion to censor the people that got rid of you. It didn't seem like it went through. Is there a way to do that individually with each person? Is that something you want to see happen? No, that's not something I want to see happen. During public comment, which in public comment, it might seem weird for LNC members to speak, but it's been our tradition that at the end of public comment, if there's something an LNC member wants to say that doesn't really fit in with the meeting, we're also allowed to do comment. And my comment was that I was happy to see that motion fail. If anyone was ever considering bringing it up again, don't. I don't want that. We are moving forward, and an eye for an eye only leaves both people blind. I'm not looking for vengeance. I wanted justice. I didn't want vengeance. I do not want to see any kind of retribution against those members, except, and this isn't retribution, this is just wise decisions. Any of them who continue to maintain that what they did to me was right, they should never be in a leadership position again. But people change, and give people the grace to change their minds. But no, I firmly believe that anyone who still maintains that was the right thing to do, and Richard Longstreth is the one who made that motion. And I'll also say this, we'll see what the future holds. After I won, Richard Longstreth did come up to me, and I don't even know how to word this because he didn't apologize, but he did say that he would like to try to work to mend the relationship. Now, I can tell you on my end that will require an apology. But we just talked. I told him I was willing to speak with him, and some future date, hopefully that will happen. But he's the only one who did that. So, yeah. So I did want to give Richard credit for that. But we didn't have any opportunity to talk further. So, rescind and expunge from minutes. So I gave you the reasons why I wanted to do that. I wanted to clear the deck of all the vengeful actions that took place last term. And those were really against myself and Joshua. And now those are gone. And that's really all of the revisiting I want to do of that last term. I'm done with that. It's the past. And I think I saw it on Twitter. It might have been on Facebook, but I don't think it was, where someone said there's a reason the windshield is bigger than the rear view. And I loved that. So I'm done looking back. There's an additional motion I have to correct something from the past, but that's going to be the end of looking back. And let me just bring that up now before we talk about the expungement. The only other motion I'm going to do that has to do with the past is I'm going to move that I be directed to put in either a footnote or some kind of note into the September 5th through 6th LNC minutes that recorded the suspension vote that says to see the 2022 convention minutes for the voiding of this decision. I want a note of that for people going back and reading minutes, that they know that that decision was voided. That's not an expungement or anything like that. It's just an explanatory note that I am going to be asking the LNC to permit me to do. That is the last thing backwards looking for me. So let's now, you're going to get a little Robert's lesson here for, I don't know if you can, the lighting in here, but title, rescind and expunge from the minutes. It's only one kind of long paragraph, but I'm going to read it so everyone understands this. Because and I don't blame people for saying this, but there's people going on Facebook going, oh, well, some of it is a little malicious because it's taking digs at me, but let me tell you something. I'm not a hypocrite. When I said before, oh, sorry, Richard Brown, Richard Longstreth was the one. And I was giving him credit, so What was I going to say? Oh, I don't blame some people who think that this is like erasing history. It's not. And that misunderstanding is really, really understandable. But there were people taking digs at me at the same time. But, I'm not, as I was saying a minute ago, I'm not a hypocrite. And as I said when I was in exile, I will say while I'm not in exile, when you sign up to be in a very prominent leadership position, people are going to take digs at you. That's part of the job. If you can't handle it, you shouldn't be in that position. Now, I'll respond to some of them, but in my response, I am never, ever going to insinuate or say that people shouldn't be allowed to do that. I've never had that position. I think leaders that try to silence criticism of themselves are gross. And yeah, some of the criticism will be mean, some of it will be malicious, some of it will be downright lies. But you want to know what? That's probably only about 15%. The other 85%, you should probably listen to and learn from. But no, it's not pleasant to hear people criticizing you. But that's part of the job. If you don't like that, don't be a public figure. Okay, so the digs at me were, oh, she really cares about party history and now wants to erase party history. The misunderstanding about erasing is understandable. The dig about me being a hypocrite on this, you're allowed to say it. I'd never silence you, but you're speaking out of your rear end because that's not true. So, let's do some education, shall we? Rescind and expunge from the minutes. And this, I'm probably going to do a whole ceremony on this because everyone knows this is one of my parliamentarian bucket list. The second thing is motion to reconsider and enter on the minutes because I just want to see the look on the face of the chair wherever I happen to be when that happens because they're going to be like, what are you talking about? Okay. On extremely rare occasions, when it is desired not only to rescind an action, but also to express the strongest disapproval, a member may move to rescind and expunge from the minutes. Adoption of this motion requires an affirmative vote of the majority of the entire membership and may be inadvisable unless the support is even greater. The support was even greater. But I was wrong on the vote threshold. See, I admit when I was wrong. I said 2/3 vote, but we got more than a majority of the entire membership. I'll note that in a footnote that I was incorrect. I thought it needed 2/3, but it's a majority of the entire membership. The LNC membership is 17, so it would require 9. We had 14 votes. If such a motion is adopted, the secretary, in the presence of the assembly, which means I got to march my butt into the next physical LNC meeting with these minutes because it's a ceremony, baby, draws a single line through or around the offending words and writes across them the words rescinded and ordered expunged with the date and his signature. In the recorded minutes, the words that are expunged must not be blotted or cut out so that they cannot be read, since this would make it impossible to verify whether more was expunged than ordered. In the published record of the proceedings, the expunged material is omitted. Rather than expunging, it is usually better to rescind the previous action and then, if advisable, adopt a resolution condemning the action. All right. So, there is still a record of it. It doesn't get erased from history, and it is also going to be talked in the minutes of this meeting that it happened. It's not erasing history. The purpose of it is to express the strongest disapproval. Now, where it said it's advisable to just rescind and then adopt a resolution condemning the action, there's a reason I chose not to do. Well, there's two reasons. One of them is because I just wanted to expunge something from minutes, but that really wasn't my primary reason, though I'm not going to lie. The primary reason I did not want to do that is because I do not want to pass any kind of motions that directly will seem to be attacking the former LNC. I wanted to make it solely about the action. Now, I know we could have did a resolution solely about the action, but resolutions just don't feel the same to me. This seemed like more like I'm attacking the minutes rather than attacking the people. And I'm trying to set an example not to attack the people. And maybe this is a distinction without a difference, but in my mind, it's different. You're really concentrating on the action itself, to me, with this motion, rather than a resolution condemning the action. So I hope that's now more understandable. This doesn't get erased from history. It also doesn't void the censure entirely because it's rescinded as of yesterday, but it was in full force and effect from the date it was passed through the time the motion passed. Now, some people have had some also misunderstandings, and I get it, about the difference between that motion and what happened with my suspension, which then turned into a removal. I'm just going to call it a removal because I'm a little cold. I'm sorry if that heater is making noise. Sorry if that gets confusing, but let's just call it the removal. My removal, and thank you for the super chat. It says, Llama moved to suspend the rules and move your next stream to allow you to go to sleep, to go to bed. I slept on the plane. I'm actually doing good. I'm going to sleep in a bit late tomorrow, but I wanted to get this all out of my system today. But I do thank Llama. The difference between what happened with Joshua's censure and my removal is his wasn't declared void. So it was in effect, in full force in effect, January through yesterday, and my motion did nothing to change that. I'm just taking a look at the comments. Yeah, we'll get into that whole, oh my God, yeah. We'll get into that in a minute. I don't want to go off on track. But what happened with my thing, and we'll get into the details of that, is it was voided. It was declared null and void. So there was no time now when I wasn't really secretary, even though the LNC for a period of time did not recognize that fact. So my claim, which I'd claimed from the moment of my removal, is that I am still secretary, even if I'm prevented from fulfilling the duties of office. I still did do everything I could. I kept track of votes. I kept members informed. I did minutes. I have my own sets of minutes. So I acted consistently with my profession. And the fact is now that has been in fact the case. So what that means practically speaking is that during that time, Mr. Wilford was acting as LNC Secretary Pro Tem, as if like I was hospitalized or something. So that's the difference between what happened with me and what happened with Joshua. Joshua was in fact censured from January up through yesterday. I have always been secretary. It was null and void. Now, some people were confused on how that was accomplished, and I know some people disagree. But the convention spoke, and I do think the convention has the right to interpret our bylaws. I know there's some disagreement on that. I don't see how libertarians disagree on that, but I'm not going to claim you're not libertarian. I'm just saying it's unfathomable to me. So the argument was that the denial of a trial and due process to me. Actually, let's go back. The argument was that pursuant to our bylaws, because it only talked about the vote threshold and not the method for removal, that under Roberts, as an officer, I was owed full due process protection in Roberts, which is an investigatory committee that would prefer charges and a trial and 30 days notice and all the protections that are in there. And I was denied that. So that then in removing an officer, that would create a continuing breach of the bylaws. And the convention, so someone got up and raised a point of order that my removal was improper, and that point of order could be brought up at any time because the argument was that it was a continuing breach. And Ken ruled that point of order that out of Ken ruled that point of order not well taken, though Ken personally, I believe, thought it was this is what Ken should have done. Ken didn't know he could do this. Ken wanted the body to vote, and he thought the only way he could get the body to vote was by ruling it not well taken and inviting an appeal. I don't think Ken realized that he could have said, the chair is uncertain about this point of order, so I am going to leave the decision to the body. He took a little longer way to get to having the body vote, but that was his desire. He did not want to make that decision, and he thought in order to give it to the body that he would have to rule it not well taken. I don't think he knew that he didn't have to do that, that on a point of order, the chair doesn't have to rule. The chair can just immediately turn it over to the body. A lot of chairs don't know you can do that, so that's not a criticism against Ken whatsoever. But that's what that was all about, and the body overturned the ruling of the chair. So that's what happened there. And that was after getting thank you, Joel. I was just reading comments, and you all can see the comments up on the screen. But sometimes I have to pause to read them. So thank you very much, Joel. So agree or don't agree, now you know at least procedurally they had the authority to do that. And Richard, yeah, I probably am not going to want to talk about this again. I am putting this in my past. But that also touches upon something that didn't happen, that I know everyone already saw, the plan sheet where, there was discussion and the decision was made not to do it, to raise a point of order that Whitney wasn't legitimately chair. This isn't the same thing where there was a motion to try to remove her with a 2/3 vote, which failed utterly. There was an idea that a point of order would be raised, and I do believe that point of order is correct. It's now moot now, but it would have been on the same grounds. It would have been not personal, and that's why I wish that was the route that was taken, but it wasn't. I'm not going into the past, but I think in our bylaws, the vice chair automatically ascends to chair. There was never a vacancy in the chair. It was an automatic ascension. So the minute Henchman resigned, Ken Mullman was chair. There was never a vacancy. The vacancy was created in the vice chair position. So this has nothing personal with Whitney at all, and I preferred handling it that way because it wouldn't have mattered who the LNC chose to fill what they thought was a chair vacancy. It could have been the best person in the world. The fact is, it just wasn't a legitimate election. It was not personal against Whitney at all. I see in a bunch of questions about updates on Whitney's health. I don't have them. And if I did, I wouldn't share it without her permission. I'm really squirrely about talking about people's health. But I honestly don't know. I honestly don't know. Oh, and now, okay. I got off on this rabbit trail. Thank you, Tyler, for the compliments. I actually do enjoy chairing meetings very much. So I appreciate the compliment that you said that for the short period of time that I was subbing in for Ken when he needed to go find out about our alleged hard stop time. When he turned over the gavel to me. Though technically I don't think I was the next highest ranking officer. Richard and JJ, wouldn't that be the treasurer? But I don't know if Tim Hagen was in the room. If Tim was in the room and came up there, I think he actually was the next highest ranking officer. But I think Ken did that because there was a different convention secretary that could, because you normally don't pull. The reason why the treasurer is the next highest ranking officer is because you need a secretary. Like, you can't just pull the secretary away, but we had the unusual situation of having a different convention secretary. So there wasn't anything. But yes, Dave Davis, it was Ken's decision. Ken pulled me inside and said, "You're the next highest ranking officer. I'm turning the gavel over to you." But he was going to be back in a few minutes. It wasn't going to be for a long period of time. And I think it was 10 minutes, right? But besides the vindication, and I like the correction that JJ gave, it's not redemption, because I'm not going to claim I was perfect. Nobody is perfect. But I will maintain, and I have maintained, and I will continue to maintain that I did nothing wrong. I had nothing to be redeemed from. I did nothing wrong. It was vindication, not redemption. Oh, Richard had an update on Whitney earlier in the comments. If you could maybe repost that. The comments are going by so fast. And we'll talk about the alleged assault, because there's something funny there. That you guys will not know about that whole situation. But, so, when I did enjoy that part. And what a lot of people don't know is, well, they know, but maybe don't realize the implications of. I've never been chair of a state party, county party, anything like that. But I am, God, where was I going? Oh, I've been platform committee chair for 3 years now. And the implications of that is, platform committee is probably the most difficult of all of the committees that National has to chair. By its very nature, it can be contentious. There's a million motions, a million amendments. Things really get into the parliamentary weeds. You've really got to handle a lot of personalities, a lot of difficult situations, and it's a big committee. There are 20 primary members of the platform committee, and the 15 states that get appointments can appoint an unlimited number of alternates. Most states only appoint one alternate, but some states appoint up to 3, I've seen. Colorado has had 3 before. And I think this year one state had 3. So you're talking about a committee that could be up to 40 members, 35 members. Now, they don't all usually come to a meeting, but they can. So I got a very difficult chairing experience with the 3 years that I've chaired the platform committee. So that's how I've gotten comfortable with that without ever having chaired a state party or any even county at all. So, but during that chairing portion, a treasured memory, and I am going to clip this out. And my quote will not be exact because I'm going from memory. So just disclaimer, but this is substantially correct, is when I had said that Ken passed the gavel to me as the next highest ranking officer. Whether you agree with that or not, I'm not even sure I agree with that, but that's what Ken decided to do. Not that I disagreed that I wasn't an officer, which is what it's coming to. I just not sure that was the correct procedure, but Ken needed to run. I was there. He knew I knew how to do it. So immediately Mr. Sarwark got up to raise a point of order that I wasn't actually an officer. And no, yes, I was. That's what the convention did earlier. And I said that I rule your point of order not well taken. And then he appealed. And this is my favorite moment. Hold on. I want to try to channel the way. I was like, Mr. Sarwark, I am not going to be entertaining your appeal as it is dilatory. Microphone 1. That was my favorite part. I kind of expected him to challenge me on that, but he didn't. I was right, though. I was right on that. You shouldn't do that very often, though. Chairs should not refuse to hear an appeal, but you can refuse to hear an appeal if it's obvious that there is no reasonable disagreement. What he was disagreeing with was the decision earlier in the convention. He wasn't actually disagreeing with what was happening then. So it was not a valid appeal. It was absolutely dilatory. Okay, so let's go on to some of these other things that came up. What did I think about Justin Amash trolling the Mises caucus? I'm not so sure he was trolling the Mises caucus. I think he was kind of trolling everybody in a way. And I talked to him on the way down the stage. I don't know if you saw, we had a brief exchange and I shaked his hand and I said, "You got me." I go, "You got me." I was getting a bit upset and he laughed. I think he was trolling everybody. Yes, Matthew Murcell. I think he was trolling the entire LP and I didn't think he had it in him. So after I realized that's what he was doing, I thought it was great. But I also thought he was being not purposely. It's easy to be a little hypocritical without realizing it. And his point was, he, like a lot of new people to the party, and this is not good, but he has given as good as he got sometimes. The whole no true libertarian thing, where you're not libertarian enough and all of that. He's gotten a lot of that, and that's not right. But he's also been on Twitter himself saying that anarchists have no place in the party. So he can't, on one hand, say, if Ludwig von Mises wouldn't be welcome in the party, then we have a problem, and you need to stop saying that certain people don't belong in the party, when he himself has said certain people don't belong in the party. Now, I don't think, and that might not be the exact thing he He pretty much said that, but I don't think he used those words. It was certainly an implication. But that was a year ago. That was a year ago. So I think he needs to take some of his own advice and stop attacking anarchists, and perhaps then anarchists will stop attacking him. It kind of goes both ways. And I do think people have unjustly attacked Justin Amash. Justin Amash is a libertarian. You might not agree with him on everything, people, but put on your big girl knickers, because Justin Amash is a libertarian. Cut the shit. However, Justin, so are anarchists. Put on your big girl knickers and cut the shit. Now, can we all just hug and sing Kumbaya and agree that both anarchists and Justin Amash are libertarians? That's what I would like to see happen. And a comment here was correct. I do think he fundamentally misunderstood the Mises Caucus, thinking that that meant that they adhere to every word of Mises. And they don't. They're the Mises Caucus because their primary focus is economics. That's why they never claimed that they agreed with him on every other point, particularly his point about minarchism versus anarchism. They've never claimed that. And I think Justin Amash misunderstood that, but once I figured out he was trolling everyone, I thought it was brilliant. I did. I thought it was absolutely brilliant. I didn't think it was boring. I thought it was great after I figured that out, because he got me. Like, he trolled me too, and I was like, you got me. You got me. And thank you, Speaker of the Ducks, for your super chat. Okay, so continuing with the Justin Amash thing. Boy, have I seen some unhinged comments about the teller tables and how this was allegedly some devious plan by me. Now, this one kind of does burn my biscuits a little bit, but as I said, you're going to get unfair criticism when you're a public figure. So let me give you the backstory. And hopefully some of the people who are making these kinds of stories, who are actually people who act in good faith, will be ashamed of what they said. There's some people who just will always go after me. And this isn't going to change their minds. I'm not talking to them, because they don't care what I have to say. This is what happened. That first day at lunchtime-ish, John Wilford and I had a really, really, really long talk. And because he knew motions were coming up that, he rightfully thought might be targeting him, when they weren't really about him. They were about what the former LNC did to me. But unfortunately, he gets caught up in all of that. And what we agreed between ourselves, the motion I made on the last day that John Wilford remain convention secretary, that wasn't a spur of the moment thing. That wasn't like a optics thing. John and I already talked about this on Friday. We had a heart-to-heart, and I told him that I had no desire to humiliate him. I had no desire to punish him. And I had no desire to strip him of his present position at convention of convention secretary. John and I had that talk. And then I found out during that talk that there was a misunderstanding. And this was just due to his inexperience. He did not know that he was supposed to get tellers. He thought the Convention Oversight Committee was supposed to get him tellers. I'm not going to get into whether or not he should have known that. It doesn't matter. So he didn't have any tellers. Because I knew I might have to become convention secretary, which wasn't really what I wanted, I was training tellers leading up to convention. So I had 12 to 13 tellers on hand and ready and already trained. Now, if I was a malicious bitch, I wouldn't have said anything. Do you want to know what that convention would have looked like with no trained tellers? I could have made John look really bad. I could have said, oh, that's too bad you don't have any tellers. And just walked away. But I didn't. What I said to him is, John, I've got 12 to 13 tellers here on hand. They are trained. If they are willing, I am willing to turn them over to you. I did not have to do that. But, again, I wanted the convention to run smoothly. My goal there wasn't to make John look bad. If I had wanted to make John look bad, I had that power right in that moment. And I didn't. So, right after that is when the Justin Amash speech happened. We had no time to realize that the Convention Oversight Committee put the tellers tables up on the stage. That was not my decision. That was not John's decision. John took ownership of it on the LNC list because he believed that the buck stopped with him. But it wasn't his decision, and it certainly wasn't my decision. And we had a very limited amount of time. I'm explaining that right now, Daniel. We had a very limited amount of time to count the presidential and vice presidential tokens. And where the teller tables were up on stage. None of us thought that was a good idea. But Justin Amash was about to come on, and it would have been a whole lot more problematic to be moving them. There was shit. Where the teller tables ended up, there was crap there before that we couldn't just move it down the stairs. That would have been a huge disruption. Where I actually thought they should have gone was over to, like, here's the stage. There was an area over to the right where there was a lot of space, but there was that big curtain, and the tellers want to see what's going on too, but we could have pulled that curtain aside. But the problem why we couldn't move the tables over there is there was no power over there for the tellers' laptops. So we couldn't just move it over there because we had to arrange, and that is a union hotel. Everything had to be done by union guys. So, that was the best that could be done at the moment. And thank you, Hayden, for the super chat. Yeah, the camera lenses did make it. We were a good 7-8 feet back. And also, being behind the curtain is not where you want tellers. That is... The convention should be able to observe the tellers doing their work. So, I have to tell you, and this is my personal opinion, I'm not going to call anyone out. The people still harping about that, if you guys are that fucking bored, I've got a lot of volunteer work you can do. Like, if that's bothered you so much that you're still going on about that, like, can we not be petty? It was an unfortunate circumstance. Nobody liked it. But nobody thought, they just didn't think it through. And if you have never done that in your life, well, congratulations. But I doubt that's true. I bet you've done things like that too. And to keep harping on it, what you're doing is shaming volunteers. You're shaming people that I gave to John. Like, you can't give people, but they were my volunteers. They were loyal to me. And I asked them if they would please help John, and they agreed. And this was before I was reelected. Nobody knew I would get vindication. For all they knew, I could walk out of there still completely shamed. But they were still willing to help, and I was still willing to help. And people do forget I have a huge crush on Justin Amash. I would never purposely embarrass him. I disagree with him a lot, but he's a cutie pie. So, that's what happened there. If that explanation doesn't satisfy you, well, then nothing's going to satisfy you. And, like, I wish I had your life, that I was so bored that I could be obsessing upon that. We did the best we could. And Richard Brown says it was 10 to 15. It was far back. It was nowhere near as close as it looked on camera. And I think it's pretty bad that National was forced to turn off the YouTube comments from people just obsessing on that. Like, we libertarians just tear each other up over the dumbest shit. But go ahead, you have every right to do it. But as I've said before, just because you have a right to do something doesn't make it right to do. So now we covered that. And I'm not talking about that ever again, because I really do think that was petty as shit. The way people went on and on and on about that, and still are. All right. We talked about expunge. We talked about the teller tables. We talked about vindication. We talked about my removal being overturned. Okay. Massachusetts. That's what I want to talk about now. And I could cross that off the list. For those of you who don't know, I made this clear at the LNC meeting because this would be a valid question that people would ask. It's very well known that I was representing Massachusetts in a parliamentary capacity in their 2 appeals leading up to convention. I had already made arrangements with them ahead of time that if I were reelected, that I had resigned from representing them effective adjournment sine die, and now JJ is assisting them. So I am no longer representing them. So that removes a conflict of interest because I could not continue to represent them and also be an officer in the party. So I no longer represent Massachusetts. I obviously still believe in their cause. But I'm allowed to do that as, any kind of member is. But I'm no longer privy to their strategy or any of that, or giving them parliamentary advice. And their new parliamentarian, who I've disagreed with multiple times, as people know, may give them different advice. So my first motion was, yes, like, share, and subscribe. I'm such a terrible YouTuber. So my first motion was to rescind and expunge from the minutes, which we've now shown that doesn't erase history. I understand that people don't understand that. Now, hopefully they do. And the fact is, I will do an Elpedia article on this with the full text of the censure and when it happened, so history is not going to be erased. Anyone who would think I would erase history, you either don't know me or you're purposely trying not to know me, because that's not anything I would do. And anyone who even remotely knows me knows that's not anything I would do. And I hope you're ashamed of saying that. But if you're not, you don't have to be. Again, I'm fair game. So, Massachusetts, the second motion I made after the rescission was to set an electronic meeting as soon as possible to hear the motion, the resolution moved by the, whatchamacallit? Not a whatchamacallit, a whom and you, what's his face? Rich Bowen. I'm just saying that now to just be funny. The resolution moved by Rich Bowen last term that was ruled out of order by the former chair. And I haven't discussed this with Angela. Angela may rule it out of order. But I don't think this LNC would uphold that ruling. I don't know, though. It could be ruled out of order again. And if it gets ruled out of order again, there could be another member petition to the new JC that it's in order. Like, this whole thing could repeat. I don't know. There's a meeting on June 5th, electronic meeting, this upcoming Sunday at 5 p.m. Eastern to consider the Bowen resolution. I'll give you the summary of it, Hayden. I don't obviously have the whole resolution memorized, but basically it was a resolution laying out the facts of what happened in Massachusetts. And with a resolve, be it hereby resolved clause, that the LNC recognizes the Cordio board as the legitimate board of the Libertarian Party of Massachusetts. But no matter what happens, the chances are very high that we're going to start out this term with a JC appeal. It's just a matter of who's going to file it. Is it going to be the Cordio board or is it going to be the Graham board? Don't know. And they may not. The Graham board may not. They may see... It'll be a tactical decision on their part. So, yeah. So that's what it is. We'll see what happens. So that is coming up on the 5th. The Cordio board was seated at convention, who I think that was the right decision. Now, some of the members of the other board were seated with other delegations, Maine and Ohio, I think. Adam, I do have a Patreon. It's in my my grifting. It's patreon.com/Pink Flame of Liberty, and I would super appreciate it. Alrighty. So we talked about Massachusetts. The last thing we're going to talk about is the future of this show. So just so you know, that's on here. Next thing, I've addressed this so much, but I'm going to address it again because people keep misrepresenting what happened. And this isn't a misrepresentation about me, but it is a misrepresentation about the 5 states who originally broke away from Region 1, but we're now 7 states. I just saw it today. I'm not going to name names, but several members who were in Region 1 keep claiming that the 5 states are MESA states. No, they're not. Okay, it depends on how you define a Mises state. Do you mean their chairs? If you mean the chairs, 2 of them are Mises out of the 5. Not even a majority. If you mean the boards or membership, I would consider 3 out of the 5 pretty heavily Mises. But the other 2, no. The boards aren't even remotely majority Mises. That wasn't the motivation. I've also heard people say Michael Heiss, God, this guy's like Snowball in Animal Farm. If you've ever read that, whenever anything happened, blame Snowball. Michael Heiss has now become the Snowball of the people who are mad Animal Farm. Michael Heiss did not know we were doing this because we did not have to ask Michael Heiss's permission to do what was best for our region. I know that might be shocking to some people. Michael Heiss found out we did this after the papers were signed, and I don't think he was particularly pleased, and we didn't care. Go figure. It's insane the way people think. He didn't know because it wasn't his business, and all 5 of us had to do what was best for our states, not what was best for any caucus. It's insane. And the other lie that's been told, and it's a lie now because it's been refuted enough times that people know, is that we went out and purposely orphaned the other 7 states. No, we didn't. We invited all of them to look at we had like a mission statement and our regional agreement, and if they felt they were in line with what our vision was for the region, which was more than just getting together to talk about LNC votes. We have a vision for our region that is different than has been in the past. We want to have like regional text banking. We want to share our resources. We want it to be more than just an LNC rep. So we invited the other 7 states, if they agreed with this and would commit to being on board with that, because one of our complaints last time was that there were some states that just never participated, even on, advising the regional rep how to vote. And it just was a very unequal arrangement. And we wanted all the chairs to commit to be active. That's why we broke away. And it was also because the 5 of us were pretty unhappy with the representation of Chris Lucchini. That's no secret. The other 7 states were invited. They were told about this before anyone else knew. We have email proof. That email was posted to the LNC list by Alex Flores. So if you keep hearing that, just know it's a lie. And it's not a lie about me because I'm not on any board anymore. I wasn't on the Colorado board when the agreement was signed. So but I'm going to defend my region. And one of the states that wasn't originally part of the 5 did join. Kansas, which was a Region 1 state, is still a Region 1 state. The others decided they didn't want to, and we took on a different state. We took on an orphan from Region 6 that John Phillips was instrumental in breaking up. So if you want to talk about who created orphans, it was that whole attempted big super region thing, which fell apart. But Region 6 did reconstitute with some different states. But we took Nebraska when they thought they were going to be orphaned. So Region 1 is now 7 states. 6 of them were part of the former Region 1 plus Nebraska. I believe Montana and Wyoming, who were former Region 1 states, went with Region 6. So did New Mexico, which is a former Region 1 state. Utah, which was a former Region 1 state, decided to go regionless. And I believe they were going to do that no matter what. Alaska, a former Region 1 state, wanted to go regionless. Hawaii, a former Region 1 state, wanted to go regionless. So they are not orphans. They chose that they did not want to be part of a region. Alaska could have joined Region 6 if it wished. Hawaii probably could have as well. Or Region 7. Now, Region 6 picked up New Mexico and South Carolina. South Carolina was going to originally go to Region 7. I don't know why they didn't. Missouri, or was it Mississippi? No, I think it's Missouri left Region 6 and went to Region 2. So any of the states that are regionless, and that is Mississippi, Idaho, Alaska, Utah, and Hawaii, are regionless by choice. And they get automatically represented by the vice chair. Region 7 denied South Carolina. Oh, Mississippi went to Region 2. So what happened to Missouri, Scott? I always get confused with those things. With I don't know why. I'm so sorry. So where's Missouri? Who are they with? They're with Region 7. Okay, gotcha. So Region 7 is Missouri, Oklahoma, Texas, Arkansas, and Louisiana. So they picked up one state. Region 7, because Oklahoma, Texas, Arkansas, and Louisiana were always with Region 7. Alabama, oh, did they have Alabama before too? Yeah. Alabama and Mississippi went to Region 2. States out of a region are represented by the vice chair. Gotcha. Okay, so it's all straightened out. So there is always a little bit of realignment every 2 years. This was more than usual. Region 1 did start that. Our 5 states broke away first, but we did that a month ago. Then there was the potential super region with 7. I don't know what happened with that. I don't care. It's not my region. But I'm glad Region 6 was able to reconstitute, because I felt super bad for them. Super bad. We almost took on Minnesota, but when they found out that Region 6 was reconstituting. Okay, so that is Region 1. No, Matt. This is an interesting question, though. It says, since Region 1 is the region with Alaska, is Colorado now in Region 0? Region 0 isn't a real region. Region 0 is the unrepresented states. But the tradition is, and it's a tradition, that whatever region contains Alaska is Region 1. The reason that's a tradition is because Alaska is the first state to have elected, not converted over, elected a representative to the state legislature. And that was in the 70s. My argument is that since Alaska's not in a region, that the states that were in Region 1 before should stay Region 1. You try to keep the numbers kind of the same. But if Alaska's not in a region, then the next state that should get that automatic designation is Colorado as the birthplace of the party. So, and guess who gets to number the regions? Take a wild guess. The secretary gets to number the regions. So, I'm keeping the region numbers the same. The former states of Region 1 are now Region 1. Region 2 is with Florida and all of that. Obviously, Region 7, Region 6, Region 4, they're all going to stay the same. No worries there. Just saying. Because there's no purpose in that. We just weren't sure if Region 1 was going to stay Region 1, because if Alaska joined another region, unless that region requested not to be one, like if Alaska joined Region 6 would have became Region 1. And probably old Region 1 would have became Region 6. Alrighty then, but I'm glad that didn't happen, because that would have been really, confusing. That was only the standard, Paul, because it was like in the 70s, you know? So, you know. And that was a big... that was Dick Randolph, wasn't it, that got elected in Alaska? It was like right away. It was like in 73, I think, or 74. Like, it was super early. So, covered Region 1. Let's see what else I need to cover here. Aha. Fundraising. I don't know why, and I'm not going to point fingers, but apparently someone from the... I don't know. I've heard too many stories, so I'm not even going to try. But for whatever reason, there was zero fundraising done at the gala. The gala is supposed to be a fundraising event. We normally raise, like, I'm going to go on the low side, $20,000, $30,000. I think it's gone as high as 80 at the gala. Region, I'll answer that question. Well, let me just answer it now before we get too far into fundraising. Region 1 is Arizona, Colorado, I'm trying to do it in order, Kansas, Oregon, Washington, but there's two more. Oh, Nebraska. And there's another one, Nevada. Yeah, so averaged about 30,000 for the gala, except for Gary Johnson. So, no fundraising was done at the gala. Interesting. Very interesting. However, after the gala, just in new life members alone, with one invitation from Angela and Ken, we raised $44,500 just in new life members. There was a conga line outside in the hallway with people waiting to be pinned. A staff member said that isn't a record for new life members at one time. I think it is, but I would trust staff would know better. I'm going to be asking that question soon, because I would like to know what the record is if that wasn't the record. And people signing up to be just sustaining members, not life members, crashed our payment site. The LP website actually kept crashing from the amount of people trying to... Oh, so $52,000 in the pin line. I'll find out if it was a wrecker. I do believe it is. But so many people were trying to sign up as new dues-paying members that multiple times this weekend, we crashed the LP payment site. And a bunch of them were people who said they were not going to join until I got vindication. So much for me driving away donors. Yeah, there might have been a couple big donors, like, I'm not going to mention a certain doctor, I'm not going to mention a name. Because I'm so terrible. Well, you want to know what? I've learned in political parties. That no matter what you do, people are going to leave, and that's unfortunate. I don't like it. I don't want that, but it's inevitable. And people are going to come. That's just the way it is. I don't like it. But it kept crashing after that again, Tyler. You were the first one to alert me, but then multiple times it happened. So there's that. So even with getting hamstrung by not having fundraising at the gala, we still raised a lot of money. And I'll still be going back to questions. If I forgot your question, please come back. But the last thing I had on my list I wanted to cover was the future of this show. Because the past 9 months, it's pretty much turned into a Libertarian tea channel. And that's unfortunate because that is not what this was intended to be. My first love is history. And then internal party education, which I do think there was still a lot of internal party education in dishing out the tea. Because you learned, how this stuff works. But I prefer to have the education without the tea. So, I'm going to get back on track with doing the history. And I'm still going to be doing LP internal education. It's just not going to have the drama effect it had before. I am absolutely confident that this new LNC is not going to be corrupt. As I said, when I was, in the very beginning of this whole journey, when I was seeking the Mises Caucus endorsement, they had a long, hard talk with me saying, you're great as a warrior. Do you know how to live in a peace? Are you just as good in peacetime as you are in war? And I assured them, if you're not corrupt, you have absolutely nothing to fear from me. And that's true for everybody. And I am confident that I'm not going to have any issues. What you may not remember, because it's been such a dramatic past year, I used to cover LNC stuff all the time. It just wasn't dramatic because there wasn't, until New Hampshire, the first year of that LNC term was very peaceful. We had some contentious votes, but it was never nasty. I used to have immediately after our monthly electronic meetings, I'd have live streams with Francis Wen and Eric Rodsap and just all kinds of people who are on an opposite side of the vote. We get on a stream and we just talk about why we voted the way we did, and it was very amicable. So I still intend upon doing LNC meeting recaps. I still intend upon doing recaps as to what's going on nationally, the decisions that are being made, and if I disagree with some, why I disagree. But, disagreement does not mean drama. Disagreement does not mean that anyone's acting in bad faith. Disagreement can just be disagreement. And so I'll still be covering LNC stuff, But, you know, those of you who got hooked on the what's next, you know, that's probably not going to be happening. You know, and I'm glad of that because I haven't enjoyed it. I know some people seem to think I love that kind of crap, and I don't. If I did, I would have started this channel as a Libertarian Tea channel, and it wasn't. I started this channel only as history, and then I moved into internal party education. Now, it only became very dramatic when first they refused to message on COVID. So that was December of 2020 is when I really started like just freaking the hell out about that. And then in June there was the suspension motion. So that's when things started going downhill a little bit, but that's not what I want to do, and it's not what I enjoy. And here's the sad thing, though. No, I guess it's not sad. I mean, people can be interested in what they're interested in. Listen, if I know, you know, my haters or whatever you want to call them go, oh, she's all about the grift. If I was all about the grift, I would continue with the drama because that's what gets viewers, unfortunately. I don't do it for the views because if I was in YouTube for the views, I wouldn't have chosen such a weird niche. I would just do general political commentary because those channels do really well. I wouldn't stick just to like LP stuff, which already narrows your possible audience. And then when you start getting into parliamentary procedure and history and stuff like that, your audience narrows even more. I am going to be doing the makeup stuff again. That was general political comedy. I would do clips from like Dave Smith. I am doing the Liberty Boudoir again, which is my makeup stuff. So that is what it's going back to. That kind of thing. So obviously I'm not in this for the views. My view count will go way down and I don't care. I like having my little niche, very loyal audience. And yeah, this stream here is probably, there's like well over 100 people. I probably will not have a stream this big again. And that's okay. Because I want to do what I love, and maybe there will be. You know, maybe there'll be some big decision that people want to understand, and, you know, I'll come on the show and explain it. So expect a lot of LNC recaps without the drama. Because I only get really dramatic when people are pulling suspicious crap. If things are being done in secret. If, you know, you're trying to take over state parties, Joe Bishop henchman. You know, I don't expect any of that. I do expect we're going to disagree. And that's okay. You can disagree agreeably. PorkFest 2023. I am going to try to get to PorkFest this year. So I don't know if I can, though. I'm actually going to look into that tomorrow because I think it's really important that now there's a decent national presence, LP national presence at PorkFest. Maybe they would even be interested in having a booth or something like that. Justin says, things I don't miss, seeing makeup and beauty ads driven by watching that stream. But we'll see if I can make it to PorkFest. I know all of their campsites are already sold out. But there's hotels around there and stuff. I'll get Justin to help me find some place if we decide to go. Like how I'm volunteering you, Justin. So Wayne and I are going to try to go to PorkFest, but I can't make any promises. And I not this this week I'll be sending out applications. And Subversive with Justin O'Donnell says we shouldn't waste money on a vending spot. I don't know. I kind of think we should. I think one of the goals is reaching out now to the wider liberty community and not being hated by the wider liberty community. So even if it's just a booth to have people come and talk, to see like what the future vision is, I think that is worthwhile. I mean, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm wrong. But I want to really hit the ground running, welcoming the wider liberty community into the LP, because they haven't felt welcome. They felt like we're a joke. And I want to change that. Okay, Subversa, I'll take that into consideration. It'll ultimately be up to the LNC. I'm always out in the crowd anyway, but I do think one way or another we need to have LNC members at PorkFest. And I think it's preferable that it's officers and the regional rep for that area. Officers and the Region 8 reps. Angela, most of all, if she can go. Joshua, if he can go. I think all 4 officers, if they can go, should go, along with Robley, I'm sure is going to be there anyway, but along with Pat Ford. And of course, if any of the other at-larges or regionals would like to come, I mean, that'd be fantastic. But I think it's pretty critical that there be an officer presence and a Region 8 presence. So I'll be bringing that up tomorrow. Now, all of you guys, I'm going to do another video. It's been a while since I've done this. Another video. And obviously, the Libertarian Party of New Hampshire. I was more speaking nationally, but obviously the party in New Hampshire as well. I've done videos like this in the past, but I'm going to do a fresh one on how to follow the LNC list. I hope now that we don't suck, that you guys will take an interest in the national business. Because you won't have to watch baby fits being thrown on the list. Starting tomorrow, I think we have a booth at Freedom Fest. The executive director was talking about that. I'm going to find out about that as well, Justin. So I'm going to do another video on how to follow the LNC list. I'm going to try to have that video hosted on LPTV. And so it's the official LP channel, not my personal channel. And I could also put it here, and then that video be embedded somewhere on the site so that people can find it easily. Because it's not easy right now, I don't think, to figure out how to follow the LNC list. And I hope you guys do that so you know what's going on. Justin, stop it. Subscribing to it's going to be worth it this time. But starting tomorrow, all of the new LNC members should have their addresses. Tomorrow, I've got a lot of work to do. I'm planning on sending out my training materials and, doing a lot of updating so that the new LNC members know where we stand on committees and things like that, which ones we have to populate, so on, so forth. So there will be, I don't know if there'll be an LP presence at Revolution 2022 for Young Americans for Liberty. I hadn't heard talk of that, but there should be. There should be. Okay, well, that was everything I wanted to cover. So I'm just seeing if there's any other questions. Yes, Angela is on Michael Malice's show. I thought it was going to be today. And if anyone watched Dave Smith today, did he talk about, or did he have a live show today? I was in the airport, and traveling. And right as we were leaving the Nugget, I hit the slots. Thank you, Adam. I hit the slots for like 15 minutes and won $200. Okay, well, I think that's it. I'm giving it just another few minutes to see if there's any questions I missed in chat. Let me look at my notes one more time because it seems like I missed something. And Hayden, I did the smart thing. Once I hit the $200, I walked away. I said, cash out, walked away. Oh, the Sarwark assault. Yes, I did forget to talk about that. Okay. There's even more of a backstory to that than you know. So I'm going to go to the backstory first. So on Friday, Hannah, assault. Okay, assault. So on Friday, there was a member who was with somebody else who was filming or recording or something. I don't know all of those details. And these two people were together, and apparently, like, Nick had a bodyguard that day, or at least a maybe not like a paid bodyguard, but a guy who was like acting like his bodyguard. And then when Nick saw he was being recorded in a public venue, which you're allowed to do, which I thought libertarians understood, but apparently not, he got really upset that he was being unauthorized recording. And apparently the bodyguard shoved the guy who wasn't even doing the recording. And he was really upset. And I understand. I'd be really upset too if I got shoved on purpose. And they came into the convention hall. And here's what was great. I think we converted a couple of the security, the hotel security that was there. So this was on break. And they came and talked to me about it. And this is what I said to the person who was shoved. I said, were you hurt? And he's like, no. I go, well, you know, it's wrong to lay hands on people. But if you weren't hurt, like, let it go. That was my advice. I go, don't call the cops. We can handle this ourselves. And it says something here about Nevada law, about consent in a venue setting, that recordings weren't allowed. I don't know anything about that. And I don't know. I don't really care what Nevada law is, to be honest with you. If you're in a public setting, you can be recorded. F Nevada law. Just saying, as libertarians, I think we should know that if you're in a public setting and you're a public figure, like Nick Sarwark, like me, you can be recorded. Sorry, not sorry. Now, if you were like not a prominent figure, I'd be a lot more sympathetic. But if you are a public figure and you're in a public place and you're complaining about being recorded, all I want to do is give you a tampon. Okay? You need a tampon. So, so this dude got shoved, legitimately got shoved. And my advice to him was, don't involve the police. We don't need that as libertarians. You're not hurt. It was wrong. Inform hotel security, inform convention security so they could be on the lookout. Let them handle it. Do not bring in the police. When you bring in the police, I mean, I gave him the whole speech. You got to be willing to say, this complaint is worth somebody dying over. Because whenever you call the police in, you never know what's going to happen. And they might shoot a dog or two while they're there. And the hotel security was standing off to the side. I didn't know that. And one of the guys, a black guy, came over to me and he's like, wow. He's like, I think I'm going to this is a paraphrase. I'm going to look into your party. Like, wow, I really appreciated what you just said there, where you were de-escalating things and don't call the police and, just handle it yourself. Like, and I said, yeah, calling the police is messed up. You don't know what can happen, and so I don't know if my advice was followed. The guy absolutely had the right to call the police if he wanted to, but I think as libertarians, let's handle it ourselves, unless somebody's like legitimately hurt. Just handle it ourselves. So that was my advice. So it's so funny now, fast forward 2 days, from what I can tell on that video, somebody was walking by Nick and accidentally bumped him. You guys may have seen, I was only watching it on a phone. I haven't watched it on a big screen. So from what I can tell, no, Nick wasn't assaulted. At worst, he was accidentally bumped. You know how many times I was accidentally bumped at this convention? That's not an assault. An assault requires intent. I did watch the video, Adam, but I watched it on my phone. And Rachel says it looks like Nick ran into him. I haven't watched it on a big... Oh, so Nick ran into that guy. Okay. I was watching on my phone, and you guys may not know. I mean, you may know a little bit because of my glasses. I trust you. So it says Nick caused the bump. It looks like he staged it. Yeah, I got to watch it on a big screen. All I know is there wasn't an assault. There was not an assault. Now, maybe Nick assaulted that guy. I don't know. I don't consider bumping shoulders like an assault unless like you were menacing beforehand. Ryan, send me a link, because I wasn't when I say I was looking on my phone, that's actually inaccurate. I was looking on somebody else's phone. It wasn't literally mine. I was watching on somebody else's phone, so I don't have any of the links. So sending it to me. And then Nick just started shrieking, I'm going to be calling the cops. And here's what's funny. I was up on stage, right on that side of the stage, right above the tellers at that point. And when he was doing that, I'm thinking in my head the advice I gave to the guy the other day. And here's me on stage. I'm going, because I don't hide my emotions well. If you haven't figured that out, I'm not good at hiding how I feel. So I was on stage going, what? And Michael Heiss walks by and he points at me. He goes, oh my God, the look on your face. Oh, I know what else I wanted to do on this video. I wanted to play some of that from convention. I wanted to play the nomination speech portion, and perhaps when the vote got announced, if you guys would like me to. If you don't, we don't need to do that. I could clip it out at a future date. I just know around what timestamp it is on the video. Yeah, I was just like, I'm not good at all at hiding my expressions. I need to get better. I need to get a poker face, I'm kind of good at that when I'm chairing. Like, I don't take anything personally when I'm chairing. But I got to be careful when I'm chairing not to have the resting bitch face, because I do try to remain unemotional. But you can get so unemotional that you're like, All right. So let me see if I can pull up my Gmail that I have the link to the video. And I know about the timestamps. I didn't clip these out, but I know about the timestamps. Link. Oh, I got to change my email signature. I'm no longer the LNC secretary in exile. Okay, let me put on my glasses. I know it's about at the 2 hour and 3 minute mark. Yeah. Okay, right here. Okay, it's going to start a little bit earlier. I don't have yet queued up where I ruled Nick out of order. That was on the 3rd day. The secretary election was on the 2nd day. Okay, I need to look at my sound levels here, though, to make sure that I have good sound. Windows, sound levels. Okay. All right. Let me see if I can pull this up. But before, we got to do the traditional.
Objection, speculative.
Okay. All right. So let me share my screen. And you guys are going to have to tell me if the sound doesn't come through. If the sound doesn't come through, we'll have to do it another time when I can actually clip it out in my video editing program. Okay, I'm going to have to remove the chat screen here. Okay, you guys should be seeing the video screen. Are you? Yes, I think you are. Okay, we're going to play this. You're going to need to let me know how the sound is. Wait, hold on. Oh, I'm hitting the derp. I'm hitting it on my... I'm such a dumbass sometimes.
Okay. If you would like, I'll just leave my timer here since this has been a little unreliable.
The sound level's not good,
okay.
But...
And Ms. LaPorte, come on up. And if you wouldn't mind, just do the honorable thing. Press the play button.
Not at all. It's good to see you. How's everybody doing today? My name is Amy Lepore, and I am the Vice Chair of the Libertarian Party of Delaware. Yep. And I stand here as a testament to the hard work of the LPD membership and as a witness to people across this country who came to our aid during a very tough year. And when I think of who helped us the most, when I think of people who poured their soul into the battle that our party fought, I think of the countless hours and the critical counsel offered by no one other than Karen Ann Harlos.
Oh, there we go.
I stand here today because of Karen Ann Harlos. And I am in awe of her spirit, her selflessness, and above all, her actions on behalf of every single person in this room and the people we represent. She is a guardian of the truth and a tireless advocate for the underdog. She has given voice to members finding themselves out of favor with the party elite, and she is a champion for affiliates subjected to fraud, trickery, and the same politics that we all claim to be sick of. The time has passed for party bickering and mean girl tactics. We came here to beat back government on behalf of our children and our grandchildren, that they might live a freer life than we do. For far too long, this party has presented trepidation instead of valor, timidity instead of courage, passivity instead of boldness, and that is a dark place for a movement to be. But when I look for a light that will guide this party into a braver future, the light I see casts a pink hue and comes in the form of Karen Ann Harlos. Today marks the beginning of a very important era. Today we move past the old ways. We tell our new leadership their job is to fight the state. They must fight the COVID regime, fight the monsters that destroyed our businesses and our livelihoods, fight those monsters who would cover the faces of our children. Their job after today is to fight the war party, to save our brothers, our sisters, our husbands, and our wives from being in countries where this country does not belong. Their job is to defend the flame of liberty, and to do that, we send the assistance of the pink flame of liberty. Today, we elect the preserver of this party's history and honor what has come before us. Today, we defend the woman who has defended each and every one of us, restoring her to a position that she has earned and will continue to show that she has deserved. There could be hundreds of you up here nominating Karen Ann today, because I know she has touched your lives, but I'll tell you what, I'm proud to do it. It is my great pleasure to nominate Karen Ann Harlos for Secretary of the Libertarian Party.
I don't know how much I have left. Is it 2 minutes on there? Okay. Let me just grab my computer here. All right, thank you, Amy. It was my deepest honor to defend Delaware. It was my deepest honor to defend New Hampshire. It was my deepest honor right now to continue to defend Massachusetts. And let me tell you, if tomorrow you need my help, and you're being the underdog with people in positions of privilege, it doesn't matter whether I agree with you now, it would be my deepest honor to defend you. This year has been very, very tough. But in a way, I'm grateful for it. Because you want to know something? When you guys elected me in 2020, that position was precious to me. And when I defended New Hampshire, I knew it would cost me my position. And I did it anyway. And I would do it again. I am grateful. I am grateful because not all of us know what we're going to do when the time of testing comes. We like to say what we would do. But when you actually are facing something that you know is going to cost you dearly, something you love, I am grateful I passed the test because we have a bigger test. The state can take away everything. Are we ready to face that test? I hope I am. I hope you are. And I want to be by your side when that test comes. I am asking you, if you weren't here in 2020 for your vote now, and if you were here in 2020, I'm asking you to take back the vote that was stolen from you by the leadership who had no right to do that.
Thank you, Ms. Harlos.
Okay, I'm stopping here for a moment. I want to try to get to, I believe it was about 40 minutes later when the results were announced. So I'm going to try, yeah, I think it's right about here. So let's go to this portion, and then we'll go back. So let me start playing here.
Pause before the last date, please.
Mr. Chair, Randy McGlynn from Washington State. Mr. Chair,
Yes.
Randy McGlynn from Washington State.
Washington State, microphone 3. Hold
Correction
on, please hold on, please hold on. Microphone 3.
I'd like to submit a correction for the record. There is a missing write-in from Washington State for Chris Darnell.
We will double check on that. It does not obviously substantive affect the results, so we will ask the tellers to check that. But thank you for that information. All right.
Mr. Chairman, microphone 1.
Microphone 1, is it? Yes.
Yes, sir. Scott Baker, Indiana. I move we do the awards ceremony right now.
Hold on, let me announce a winner. And then we'll totally get back to Mr. Require's motion that is actually still on the floor. All right. All right. All right, with 70.74% of the vote. Ms. Harlow, congratulations on your re-election, election, whatever that is. Yes, welcome back. Thank you. All right. There was a motion on the floor before this, and I don't remember. I heard one objection, so we needed to vote. That was where we were. We had an objection to moving into awards.
Objection withdrawn. Microphone 2, Eric Van Single, Texas.
Yes. Were you the objection, sir?
Yes, and it's withdrawn completely.
Okay, awesome.
It was just because I heard 2 seconds for the...
All right, so I'm going to re-ask again then, just to be sure. Is there any objection to going, so where we were, there was a motion to suspend the rules to hear the awards part 1 right now. There was a second, multiple seconds, and I was asking the body if there was any objection to moving to awards right this moment. Are there any objections to moving to awards at this time? Cool. Awards, you are on. Thank you. Oh, okay, there is an objection, sorry. All right.
Okay, so, I'm gonna stop this. Yeah, that was something. Okay, let me go back to my screen. Where was I? I need to go back here. Yes, but I don't have the chat back up. So yeah, that was something. Oh boy. Yeah, no, I was getting all emotional again, too. That was rough. That was rough. But, yeah, I'm glad that part's over. Oh, boy. Well, and there's, Avin's got some good pictures, I think. So, yeah, I'll clip out for another day. I've got to find that clip of me rolling Nick out of order. But people forget. Okay, people forget. There's one person, and he'll tell you this. There's one person in the brief, either me advising a chair as a parliamentarian when I wasn't chairing, or when I've actually chaired, there's one person that I've either advised to rule out of order or personally ruled out of order more times than anybody. And I know a lot of people don't want to believe this, but it's Michael Heiss. And he will tell you that because I ruled him out of order at this convention too, if you remember. Right before Ken took the microphone back, I ruled Michael Heiss out of order. Okay. I'm going to get going now, probably. I'm giving it one more second. People for reminding me I didn't cover the Nick assault. And no, Steve Dasbach did not congratulate me, but I also didn't see him after that. I don't remember even running into him at all after that. So I wouldn't impute anything about that. You know, it's tough losing a race, and he might have gone to his room for a while. I don't know. God, now you guys are reminding me of something. We are going to be done in a minute. How long have I been streaming? Oh, it's only 2 hours. Come on, I've had 4-hour streams now. No, I have, but we're not going to go 4 hours tonight. The platform. I know a lot of people weren't happy with the speed round at the end there, but it did pass a suspension of the rules, which required 2/3. I know even some people on the platform committee weren't entirely happy with it, and to be honest with you, I wasn't entirely happy with it. But I was not going to let my committee get ignored for the second convention in a row. our report was not heard in 2020. And this platform committee took the 2020 report, went through all of the proposals, and readopted most of them. And then we weren't going to get heard again in 2022. No, not today, Satan. That is not happening to my committee. So that is why that had to happen. And we got 14 out of our 19 proposals passed. There was another one coming right up when we ran out of time. I'm disappointed we didn't get to hear the agorism plank. But I'm very happy. Oh, Ryan, you did? If people want to see that, email me the link to the YouTube video. Email me the link, and it's at 5 hours and 23 seconds. I'll pull it up. But email me the link. I don't want to go searching. I don't know if Adam's going to be able to do that. I don't understand what he just said. Got a copy paste. Sorry, she disabled links. Yeah, email it to me if you can. Just let me know. Okay, he said he'll email it. So yeah, I wasn't going to allow that to happen. And planks that I thought were super important did get amended. We added in all the no forced vaccination stuff. We added in speech isn't violence stuff. That was critical. So I was very happy with that. And very happy that we added in the the NAP, or it's not even the NAP, it's the non-initiation of force language into omissions. So I really, really like that, end qualified immunity. Like, there was some really, really good proposals. I thought that secession, yeah, there was some great proposals. And we brought that one plank into alignment with the Dallas Accord. Oh, and Chuck Moulton, I don't know if you're watching, Chuck, but I told you, 6 years ago, when you told me that, yeah, I'm the one, when Chuck Moulton told me I'm the one who got the repeal of all taxation out of our platform. Do you remember what I promised you, Chuck? I promised you that I would get it back in. And guess what Mama did? Mama got it back in. Pooyah. I'm a determined bitch, man. I'll tell you that. I also told you that I was going to close that damn back door, and I did that in 2018. Okay. Yeah, the firearms accessories, that was a simple one that needed to be in there. Okay. I think Adam said he sent me the link. Let me see if I have it. Okay, yep. He also sent me the Sarwark Theatrics video, so let's see. So you said 5 minutes and 23 seconds. Okay, well, I don't think let me try to get right to that point. 1 second. Okay, I guess it's right there. All right, let's play this. Well, that's Wayne's obsession. I guess it rubbed off on me. Okay, so let me remove the chat. Let's go to here. And yes, I am in a parka because it was freezing. Let's go full screen. And Chair Molman had to step away for a moment. He passed the gavel over to me as the next highest ranking officer. There is a question of eligibility on some of the Judicial Committee members. And what I have decided, and I will give an opportunity to appeal if someone disagrees, is that we're going to print out the tally sheets. If in the meantime it turns out that some of the candidates are, let me please state what my ruling is before you do a point of order.
Point of order, you are not the secretary at this time. The convention is not complete.
No, I am still the party secretary. The convention secretary is a different item. It was, I rule your point of order not well taken. So,
then I appeal the ruling of the chair as to the point of order.
thank you very, I rule that, I'm not.
Dilatory.
It's dilatory. I'm not entertaining that point of order. There is a question as to the qualifications of some of the Judicial Committee members. I am saying that the balloting will go forward. If it's determined in the meantime that they are ineligible, we will let you know, and if they win, it will be disqualified and it will go to the next highest ranking person in the elections. I'm giving an opportunity for someone to appeal that decision of mine. Okay, Mr. Secretary, if you could please print out the ballots. If the delegation chairs can please line up to get the ballots. Going back to the screen, because I do see something that someone asked me about, and let me pull the chat up. You know, I'm always a person who will say if I said something that was unclear and I remembered something a bit differently, there could be somebody, that person could be in the chat. When I had said that the Judicial Committee, if their people are ruled ineligible, that it would go to the next highest ranking person. The way someone understood me, I understand the way why they understood me that way, and I thought I clarified it better than I did. Now that I'm watching it again, I understand why that person misunderstood me. When I said it would go to the next highest ranking person, it's the next highest ranking person that gets a majority. Our rules are you can only be elected by a majority. So I thought I said that, but I didn't need to say that. If someone gets disqualified, it would go to the next highest ranking person that is qualified, which means they got a majority vote. But I understand how somebody who isn't as familiar with our rules would have misunderstood what I said. I should have been clearer. That is my mistake. Yes, Ken did say that later, and that gentleman did say that is different than what I was told earlier. Ken was clearer than I was, and the only reason Ken later said it would be vacant is because no one else got over 50%. You need to remember at the time I said that, we didn't know the results. We hadn't even voted yet. So my comment was, if more than 7 people got over 50%, and one of the top 7 were disqualified, the next highest ranking person that qualified, that got over 50%, would automatically move up. But I realized that I was saying that in the context of our rules, and I assumed that person knew you had to at least get 50%, and I did think I said that, but I didn't. So if that person is watching, when you talk to me about this after convention, you are correct. I did not say that. However, our rules say that. And as chair, I did not have any authority to override the rules. So that would have taken a 2/3 suspension of the rules. But I do understand. Yeah, Andy Bukovic appealed my ruling. And that's right when Ken walked up. So Ken dealt with the appeal of the ruling. So I do understand why that person misunderstood what I said. I should have been clearer, and I will take ownership of that. However, the rule I can't overturn the rules unilaterally. The convention could by a 2/3 vote. You know, I was saying that within the context of our rules, in which you would have to get over 50%, but it was not at all unreasonable for that person to misunderstand me. However, I had a confrontation with that person afterwards, and they were upset over that, and now I don't blame them, going back and watching this. However, they said to me that I knew damn well that a certain person, I'm not going to say their name because I do not even yet know damn well that they were disqualified. This person accused me of knowing that one of the people who won was disqualified. I know no such thing. I still know no such thing. We are waiting for staff to confirm this. And this person said, oh, the Mises Caucus, when they endorsed this person, knew damn well they weren't qualified. Now just stop and think for a second. Why would the Mises Caucus purposely endorse someone they knew wasn't qualified when they would know that they would lose the seat? Why would they do that? That's just dumb. You might not like the Mises Caucus, but I think they proved by how well they took over this convention that one thing they're not is dumb. And then he said, no, you knew he wasn't qualified. And that's when I said to that person, no one calls me a liar, lose me with that. Good day, sir. And I walked away. Because nobody does call me a liar. When I'm wrong, I admit it. When he said I didn't say it was over 50%, I thought I did. He is right. I didn't say that. However, it's in our rules, and I couldn't overturn the rules. Yes, we're talking about JC. So he is correct. I do not blame him for being upset that he misunderstood me because he didn't know the rules as well as I did. However, coming after me afterwards saying that I knew something I didn't, I still don't know. Just so you know, there's a possibility that 2 people are disqualified. One of them, it has to do with a bylaws interpretation. I can't interpret the bylaws on my own. Yeah, Matt, so yeah, he called me a liar. I think it's 3 years, Adam. Good, Phil. Good. The duck speaker. If you're trying to flatter me, you're working. Because I'm not in my 30s. I wish I was in my 30s. I think you know that, but thank you. I'm nowhere near my 30s. No, I don't think it's 4. I don't think it's 4 that are potentially disqualified. If it's 4, we're in deep trouble. But I gave people the opportunity to appeal my ruling that we were going to go forward. And nobody appealed it. I kept inviting the appeal. I think it's 3. If it's 4, we're in deep shit. Because as long as it's just 3... Oh, 4 years. Okay. Sorry. I think it's 3. Hold on. Now I'm curious. That's what we got bylaws for. I've never ran for JC, so I never paid much attention to that. But I could let you know what the bylaws issue is. I could tell you how I interpret the bylaws, but the LNC is going to need to interpret the bylaws, and I don't know whether I will succeed in this, but I'm going to insist that it be done by a vote so that members could appeal if they don't like the interpretation. I don't like us making unilateral crap. Go figure. I'm pretty consistent on that, aren't I? Judicial Committee. I thought it was 3 years. But let's see. It might be 4. God, my eyes are awful. Hold on. I need to get closer to the screen. Yes, it is 4 years. Got it. Okay, here's the issue, and I see another issue. I hope we end up not having not having a judicial committee this time, because I see another problem. But listen, I don't think the Mises Caucus is perfect, and if we don't have a judicial committee, I will make the same motion I made last time when Nick screwed up. So Nick can't be whining about the JC thing, because Nick screwed up entirely, and we did not have a JC 1 year. Yes, the interpretive problem is, it says, 1 second, that judicial committee members must have been members of the party for at least 4 years at the time of their election. It doesn't say 4 consecutive years. It just says 4 years. So the interpretive issue is, if someone's been a member for 4 years, but let their membership lapse, even though still the total is 4 years, Duck Speaker, I don't know how old I am because I stopped counting, but I think I'm 55. I think, or 54. I don't count. I was born in 1967 in October, so whatever that is. What the hell was so there is someone whose membership lapsed for a certain period of time. So correct, Paul. A sustaining member is not the same as a member. Their pledge was still intact when they let their membership lapse. That's my interpretation. I'm going to be speaking with Angela about this. It's not my job to do that. But the other problem is, a typical quorum would be 4 out of 7. But I see our bylaws say a quorum is 5. So we could afford to disqualify 2 people and still have a JC. If 3 get disqualified, we don't have a JC, because you have to have a quorum in order to fill your own vacancy. And shame on Mises Caucus, and I'm a member. If we end up having to disqualify 3, that's because they didn't vet the candidates well enough. I'm sorry, I'm not going to not say something that's obviously true. But I also don't want to press a panic button, because we don't know right now. As long as we have at least 5, they will fill their own vacancies. If we had had other people who had gotten 50%, then Alicia Matson told me a single member could fill the entire committee. That's another interpretive thing. I don't think so, Matt, but that's not my call. Well, let me read this. Let me read this. She might be right. She might be right. Alicia Matson, she was wrong on my removal, but Alicia Matson is rarely wrong on parliamentary stuff. It says, The remaining members of the Judicial Committee shall appoint new members if vacancies occur. Ah. So she might be right. So we may not have an issue. Well, we'll know. I'm meeting with Angela on this. Everyone might be fully qualified. Yeah, Matt says, she told me you better really like that one person. Well, I know for a fact Mark Montoni is absolutely fully qualified. He's been a life member forever. Mike Seebeck is fully qualified. I'm trying to think who else is on there that I know super, super well. Okay. Was there something else we were going to do? I don't think so. We just wanted to talk about the JC. Oh, if for some reason, which now that I'm reading this, I don't think there's going to be a problem. What I did when we didn't have a JC, when Nick Sarwark messed something up, and it was an accident. Shit happens. I moved a resolution. Oh, I know what else I wanted to show you. Yeah, well, we're going to do the Nick video another time because it's getting late. And we're losing some viewers. And yeah, we'll play that, I think, another time on its own. If that's okay, Ryan, or do you want to watch it now? You guys let me know. Do you want to watch it now? I'll give it a few minutes. But I wanted to show you guys something else. The next highest vote getter, if that was in fact the case, which it isn't, because I can't change the rules. Adam wants to watch it. Okay, I'm going to see what other people say. I wanted to let you know the percentage that the next highest vote getter on JC got. Believe me, you don't want to elect somebody on low percentages. But I want to look. I think it was only 28%. You do not want to elect somebody at 28%. And it's not any kind of slam on the candidate or anything like that. It's just so. Yeah, the next highest vote getter was Jim Turney at 28%. You don't elect somebody. If they were super close to 50, I'd be like, but no, you don't elect somebody with 28%. Okay, well, let's pull up then. I guess we're going to watch the Sarwark video. Okay, let me stop the video. Let me go to my screen here. And we'll remove this widget. It's probably good to get this all over with now because, again, I want to move past this stuff. So let's just get it all out of our system here. I want to remove that scrolling thing too. Okay. Let me go to here. I'll make it full screen.
We have to let the state delegation chairs validate the results. We have to do that. So, the rest of us, though, don't have to do that. We can take a break. It sucks to be the delegate chair, doesn't it? So, why don't we take 15 minute recess and let the state delegation chairs review the judicial committee's ballots to make sure that they're all correct state by state. State by state. And then we will not release the results until we return.
Is that a threat, sir? Is that a threat, sir?
Objection.
Sarwark said, if there's goes to a vote, I want to know who voted for it. And I said, is that a threat, sir? Is that a threat, sir?
What goes to a vote?
That is actually the orders of the day, so...
What goes to a vote?
He said if the bigotry plank goes to a vote, take 3.5. Take a picture of everyone voting yes. I want to know who did it. And I said it.
And here's mine.
Compromise on it. Sorry, blank 3.5. Unfortunately, amendments are not in order. It is required. It is not required. Hey!
I feel.
You just I hope there's a fucking camera.
Hey, hey, hey,
You just
hey.
walked right in.
He just threw his shoulder into me.
Sir, stop.
This dude has unauthorized recording, and Steve Michaela is here too.
You're in public.
Okay. Move to a microphone. Mr. Chair, let me move to a microphone with security. I requested as a right, as a member of this body, to not be physically assaulted at this convention.
Ladies and gentlemen.
This was a planned attack. I have evidence that this was pre-planned. It is being recorded.
Listen.
I will press charges.
I want to ask this body, everyone, please. We can argue, and we can debate, and we can disagree, we can yell, and we can scream, but our values are that we do not initiate force.
I can't pause in this a second because I want to see that again. We'll play to the end, but yeah, it did look like he purposely walked into that guy. I couldn't see that on that little screen, but I'm watching this on a super big screen now. Does anyone know what timestamp that was at? I'm trying to... We're just going to go back a little... Is it right about here? Let's see. Am I back far enough?
This body, everyone, please. We can argue, and we can debate, and we can disagree.
Okay, no, that I didn't go back far enough. 120, okay.
Unfortunately, amendments are not in order. It is required. It is not required. Hey!
I feel.
You just I hope there's a fucking camera.
Hey, hey.
Okay, wow, no, he walked into that guy. He totally ran into that guy. I mean, wow. No, on this big screen, it's obvious. He ran into that guy. Now, he might want to claim that the guy should have seen him. I say that guy and things like that because I try to avoid names. I know him as well. I just don't really like calling people by name when I don't have their consent. They didn't know I was going to do this. Now, he might claim that the other guy should have seen him coming and moved out of the way, but you have no obligation to do that, and I don't even think he saw Nick coming. I think he was like either in concentration or looking somewhere else, because I know him, and I think he would have moved out of the way. Nick ran into him, and I'm not even saying that Nick did it on purpose. I think both of them were just distracted and shit happens. Okay, let's go back again. Can we do it in slow motion? Speed. Let's do it at 0.5.
I feel.
Okay, wow. So you don't want us to watch the... I mean, you recapping it, I'd like to see you recap it. So let's go back to where we were. We were here.
Back up where we are. I promise you. Mr. Chair, I'm withdrawing. I just want to ask, can we take a 15-minute recess to
Get it done. Nobody wants to delete that.
I tried.
Yeah, Charles, that's my view.
Down here, House AV, if you guys are back there at home, if there's any way you can put the secretary's screen on the monitors. I know you guys are busy doing stuff, but when you get to that, please,
It's a vote to suspend the rules.
What's that?
Okay.
So I didn't really see.
I had it on video.
What exactly happened?
Nicholas Sarwark came over to Evan McMahon
Yeah.
and said, if we go to the vote on this platform plank, please take a picture of everybody who's going to vote.
Right.
I believe that's for intimidation, whatever it is, right? I'm standing here, and the guy who...
This is weird.
The person who...
That guy over there, somebody,
yeah,
the guy in the suit.
the guy who's our counter. He was away from the table, and he was walking back. Nick Sarwark was running around trying to get his fortune. Ran into it. Nick Sarwark's hot. Whatever it was. This dude's clueless as hell and was not even aware of what's going on.
So he thinks it was just an accident.
He literally had nothing to do with this.
Gotcha.
And Nick Sarwark ran into the guy. That's a big kerfuffle. Nick Sarwark was a little hot. I was standing right here, and I'm pretty sure I was recording it.
Did you get what happened?
Well, I've been recording for 20 minutes. I haven't stopped.
Gotcha. Okay.
But I was,
Okay, yeah, I think we got it here, and let me go back to my screen. Yeah, I'm tending, I don't think there was anybody's, this just a shit happens thing. Nick, you weren't assaulted. Sorry. You weren't assaulted. And the funny thing is, I actually was menaced and technically assaulted at the 2016 convention, and you never did a damn thing about it, Nicholas Sarwark. But I even said that when the guy made physical contact with me, that I don't think he intended to, but he was menacing me the whole time, which was an intent to intimidate. And even if you accidentally make contact with somebody when you're menacing them, that is an assault. I got hit in the face by with a sign by this guy in 2016 after he menaced me around the room, and I had to crawl up and stand on a chair to get away from him. So yeah, nope, Nick. That's not an assault. At worst, that was someone who just decided he wasn't going to move out of the way, and you ran into him. Somebody doesn't have to move out of the way. At worst, that's what it was. It seemed to me like both of you were very distracted and accidentally collided. That's not assault. Don't be a big baby. And yeah, as to deleting that language, I never thought that language belonged in the plank, and it has nothing to do with liking bigots or anything like that. It was used to weaponize against people for just people they didn't like. Everyone was a Nazi. Everyone was a Nazi. And as I've said, yep, we all know how much Nazis love pink-haired white women who had refused to reproduce. We all know that Nazis love that. All right, guys. We are now on 2 hours and 40 minutes. And, yeah, unauthorized recording. Yeah, that is like a bitch move. When was the bigotry language weaponized against anyone? Where have you been? It's been weaponized against me. It's been weaponized against nearly everyone in the Mises Caucus. The new language is something like, we respect the rights of all people regardless of, and it lists a lot of characteristics that we would all recognize, that you have rights, you know, even if, like, some bigots would deny these groups of people rights, but we don't. I do think the new plank is much, much better. Oh, I've been called a bigot, Charles. Believe me, I have. Though lately, they've kind of gotten away from that and have called me bigot adjacent. But no, I've been called a bigot. I've been called a white supremacist, and I've been called a Nazi. Lately, though, it's been more Nazi adjacent is the preferred phrase. Don't you remember? And Joe Bishop Henchman on his way out called me an enabler of Nazis. Yes, that plank has been weaponized against a shit ton of people. All right, it's not going. It's not going for much longer, Robert. We are going. Thank you so much. I look forward to the new turn of this channel, which will reflect the new turn of the LNC. And I hope you guys still enjoy it as much as when there was tea. I'm going to enjoy it a lot more because I don't like tea. The only tea I watch on YouTube is, I like the beauty channel drama. I know, it's prurient, it's base, it's Mean Girls, it's a bunch of... But I love it. I do love the makeup channel tea. That's the only tea I watch. I don't like political tea. All right, y'all have an awesome night, and hopefully I'll see you tomorrow.
Given, that's how we live it. Don't be mad at the system, it's simply how we've existed. I hear a lot of people talking like they politicians and choose to be an accountant because it's safe in a